useful information.
And even contact some of the private ambulance services and see what their take is on if we put a request for proposal out there, what would they be looking to respond to? And if so, give us an idea as to what it would look like. You know, they don't have to, back out of an envelope type idea.
I would only ask, Chief could just keep giving us guidance on any risk associated with any of this research we're doing. So when we present these ideas and this data, I'd like to understand the risk that we're taking on this now. So I think that's one thing we don't have a good appreciation for. Sometimes we present these ideas, but not understanding the risk that we may be putting on the fire department or the police department. So it could guide us with collecting this data.
First time I saw this document was, you gave me tonight was at 4 o'clock.
We need to do a better job.
Hour and a half, just get it done.
I don't.
Okay, can we move on to next item on our agenda? Hopefully we can get through this one. This is a discussion of the FAC liaison voting rights, and it centers around Mike Kirby is a member of the Finance Committee, and Barbara Clark has reminded us that under the bylaws of the town, a serving member of the Finance Committee, did I say that? I am sorry.
That's just like Sean O'Leary.
It's, oh,
Barbara Stats.
Barbara Stats. Barbara Clark is someone that was a personnel director in a company I worked for about 25 years ago. I apologize, Barbara. Anyway, Barbara has reminded us that under the current bylaw, a member of the Finance Committee cannot serve as a voting member of another committee without approval of town meeting. On the charter, yeah.
And I'm not sure if Mr. Walton and
I would be involved in that.
yeah, as well as Mr.
Yes.
I believe that the charter specifically states that during their terms of office, committee members shall not hold any other public office in the town or serve on any other board, committee, or commission of the town, except in an advisory capacity, without the specific approval of town meeting. And I've raised the subject in the past, and I believe that the answers that I got, I forget from whom, perhaps from Barbara, was that if the committee is merely an advisory committee, then you're serving in an advisory capacity. And the FAC is merely an advisory committee. It cannot spend any money, it cannot commit any money. It is an advisory committee, and therefore it falls within the four squares of this, of the charter.
My point. That was my point 2 weeks ago.
I think that was kind of something that may have been briefly discussed early on, too. So, you haven't,
Mrs.
I'm not,
Strauss disagrees.
Mrs.
She's not town clerk.
My interpretation of it is when somebody votes on the committee, that they are assuming a greater responsibility and capacity. That would be my interpretation.
Mhm.
A liaison to me is really, in my mind, a word that we used earlier, very a conduit, a person that provides information back and forth from the parent board to the.
Right.
Well, I respectfully argue then that if that is so, then liaison should not be taking an active role in the committee, may take part in discussion, should not take an active role in the committee, should not be an officer of the committee, should not be taking assignments from the committee, except as it relates to the liaison role.
I would concur.
I mean, and if that's the case, then I think we need to restructure that.
Right, well, that's, I mean, are you disagreeing with Mrs. Stat's position on this? Because if you are, we could ask town council to render an opinion.
I could take it either way, but it's kind of like an all or nothing, all one way or all the other.
Yes.
Not in the middle.
Right.
I do feel that on an advisory committee, such as the FAC, such as the Fire Station Study Committee, such as the subcommittee on the school committee for finances. These are all advisory committees. And as such, being an active member of such a committee should not be in conflict with each other.
Mike?
Yeah, I'd like to point out, though, that I believe this issue was specifically addressed at the time that Mr. Wolf and I were both appointed as members of the Fiscal Advisory Committee, and the voting rights were specifically actually enumerated by the board at the inception of the group. So however you end up essentially deciding this, to me personally, it's fine. I don't want there to be any inference somehow that Mr. Wolfen or I did anything inappropriate with this.
No,
regard.
there was, no, absolutely not. No.
No, anything to like clearly by a roundabout area, it's nothing that I looked into until there was for some other reason, it was brought to my attention in the charge of the committee, and then I realized that the board had given me oversight. And we just bring it up as a matter of determining what is the correct procedure.
Mr. Chairman, I think that I looked upon ACT as strictly an advisory committee, which is called the Fiscal Advisory Committee.
Correct.
You know, just by chance.
That was the intent, by the way.
That was the intent.
The charter
And
says
to
so.
me, I think the solution could be very easily taken care of by FACT themselves, whereby they present us with a consensus of the membership as opposed to a formal vote as to what they're presenting. The consensus of the body was, the consensus of the committee is, rather than the formal vote was 8-2, the consensus was. And to me, I think we specifically put members of the Finance Committee on there along with everybody else for very specific reasons, and to me, they're not a standing committee of the community. They're not mentioned in the charter. They're not mentioned in Mass General laws. They were an advisory committee to this board, appointed by this board with a specific mission for a certain period of time, and they just come back and give their recommendations to us. So I don't see it as an issue, because again, as we've seen, they presented something to us, and we don't necessarily buy into the whole program anyway, but they're giving us their thoughts, and I think it's a very important role. I think every member of that committee should play an equal role, because they're there for a specific reason, and it's strictly advisory.
Abby? You,
Well, as you know, when this committee was formed, we were discussing representation, you and I talked about the fact that while there might be two ways out of the income, only one can vote.
right.
And a piece of that is at that point, there was a general sense that if you're going to invest that kind of time, you'd like to include a participating member. I understand what the town charter says we would do that, and, that would be done in whatever way you see fit, and however you would interpret it. I do have one issue. I was, for example, the vice chair of the infrastructure committee while I was on the finance committee. So it was probably that. I think that my dilemma would be, and the thing that I would like the selectmen to look into, is how you want to interpret liaison, because it's one thing not to vote, it's another thing not to participate, other than the selectmen. And I think that is sort of an important question, given the amount of time that some of the advisory committees take on.
Okay.
Okay, we meet once a month with the chair and vice chair of the school committee, board of selectmen, finance committee, town
Yeah,
administrator,
we don't take
superintendent.
votes.
No, we don't do, but we come to consensus, we come to an
Yeah.
agreement on things, and, I mean, I'm always interested in having Abby's opinion heard, and, I wanna make sure that it counts.
Sean had his hand up, and then you, Jim.
Both Abby and Alan, there's other committees that you were on as FinCom liaisons or representatives, and did you vote on issues related to those committees?
What about the financial management or the financial advisory committee that you guys have?
That's what I was just talking
You guys
about.
voted on those? You guys voted?
No.
You vote or you make decisions, or,
I think what I'm trying to say to you is that, for example, the role that Alan played with various presentations tonight. And if you're going to interpret liaison as a conduit, that just goes back and forth, sort of an opener, then obviously some of the stuff that he did tonight would be inappropriate and disrupt. And I don't really feel that would not be my interpretation
Well, one of the reasons for putting the liaisons on this committee was to provide information and also, the expertise and experience associated with what the finance committee does, what the school committee does, what the board of selectmen does. So, I tend to agree with Steve, but at the same time, we're bound by rules, and therefore, I'd like to get a town council opinion.
I'm not really clear, I can understand the voting thing, that's a little bit more plausible, given the town charter, and John Murphy and I had a discussion about it last week. And neither, the two liaisons from the finance committee have a problem with that either. My question to the board of selectmen is, did you really want a liaison from finance committee or from the board of selectmen or anyplace else to play basically no role other than that of the conduit? Because I don't think I'm not quite sure that that's
Well,
representation of the council.
Joe?
No, well, first of all, let me go to the liaison voting. I know I'm a liaison to probably 4 or 5 other committees. I don't have a right to vote on that.
That's fine,
Yeah,
Joe.
but, okay, and to go further, Abby, no, I will give input, and, because they'll ask me questions, I'll ask them questions. That, it's not that I would just sit there and write things down and bring it back to the board. No, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with a liaison giving their input into the discussion. I mean, especially if it has a financial impact, they may ask one of the gentlemen, is the money available here or whatever, however.
Yeah, and as liaison to the finance committee, I've come to a number of your meetings and
Yeah.
spent a lot of
Hang on, there's the
time
voting.
presenting things, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
we're gonna ask town council for an opinion, just so we're clear, and then we'll get back to Mike and Alan. Okay? Mike, yes.
One quick question, Bob, is this a finance committee specific issue, or is it like?
It's a finance committee specific issue.
Because you're on the finance committee.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's just a finance committee issue. So, we'll get, since, it's an advisory board, we'll get an opinion from town council and put an end to it at this point, okay? Jeff?
Just quickly, is it just a question of the, person from FinCom just voting on an issue, or is there a conflict in that presentation?
No, I think it's a conflict in the voting.
Well, maybe not. I think it's more far-reaching, because again, as far as the charter says, they're not to be a member of any other board, committee, or commission.
Yeah,
So
but,
that means
They
they're not
can
gonna
be
be doing,
liaison.
not gonna be doing what Mr. Wolpen just
well,
did this
you
evening.
could bring someone
which
from
was-
the, you could
which
bring
was here-
somebody
here's
from an
here's our
outside
recommendation that I
company
didn't
in.
agree with.
You
So-
could bring someone from an outside company to make a presentation for something, I
They do
don't-
the research and take it on as their, I don't know, but again,
We'll get an opinion from town council. We're not gonna solve it here tonight, I'm sorry.
But you may also want to decide after you discuss with town council whether or not you wish to do it.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is discussion of 2009 budget adjustments. Greg, can you give us a status report on that?
We talked about it at the last meeting.
Yes. Is there any changes at this point?
You had asked me to, cost out a furlough for employees,
Mm-hmm.
and I've done that. Give you a breakdown of what that is.
We're talking about 2009 now.
Right. You asked me to cost out a furlough day for municipal employees, and this would exclude our public safety officers, police and fire. What would include the non-union, all of the managers, the Department of Public Works, the library, and the town hall clerical